think for a lot of artistic and creative people, if you're someone who's kind of putting your work out there, your art out there, the goal is to connect, but it's also to, you're trying to create something hopefully that people enjoy, and kind of creates a legacy, something that you can leave behind.
Yeah.
For years to come. A lot of people are also chasing the fame. They're chasing recognition, but I think at the end of the day, people just want their work to be known and appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with that, and with people who are very passionate about what they do, people can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a situation where someone's tried to take advantage of you for that?
None of my stuff is good enough to be able to be taken advantage of just yet.
I was gonna say that, but
but not personally, but I have heard stories. I have had some friends who have been taken advantage, at least with their time and their work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm someone who falls guilty of that too.
Sure.
I'll put like all of my effort into something, and then when somebody sees like how hard I'll go on a project, they kind of like lean on that. Oh, well, he's just gonna take care of that part. So without being like properly like supported, or but yeah, I have had some friends that have gotten into some shady like music deals, or whether it be like writing. We had somebody who we've interviewed before who said that they've gotten kind of taken advantage of for like the writing process of like doing something. So
Sure.
yeah, it's around, man. And it's it's sad that some people are like aiming to like find those weaknesses
They're
in
looking
people.
to take advantage of people.
Yeah, so they're out there, and I would say, like, in general, from my experience, or what's worked for me, is just asking like as many questions as possible, especially from different points of view, from different careers, from different types of artists, people who aren't artists at all, just kind of like building like your own support system, and like creating like a network around you, that you can go to, that you can trust, is really important to be able to navigate through that world, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, what about you, Aaron?
Not that I would say I've been necessarily taken advantage of before in the past, but like, I think we're both nice guys. We like to help people, and we like, we're hard workers. I definitely have done a lot of work for free in the past, when this was not necessarily my career, which was fine then, but I had a hard time kind of when I did transition and, started doing video and things full time, saying no to people, who are, can you help me with this? Can you just, do you mind?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you're going to be like, sure, I'd love to help you, but this is what I do now.
Yeah.
Here's my rate, and kind of separating that from, just doing favors and things all the time.
Establishing a boundary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of, our next guest has experienced some of those hardships at a really young age, and has overcome them, and ever since has been thriving.
Los Angeles is a very mental city and mystical city for a reason. You have positive and negativity happening all at once, all day. And so, yeah, I think learning how to separate myself from industry standards and falling in love with the art again.
All right, today in the studio with us is LA's friendly, witchy dream pop singer, Starchild. Starchild, welcome to Indie LA.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Of course, yeah. So how did your musical journey begin?
Yeah, it was interesting. I grew up around here in Los Angeles, and I originally was planning to be an actor, as everybody in the city does.
Yep.
I got bit by the bug when I was like 8. I was doing like church plays and stuff, and then like 9 and 10, I was like, I don't know, I want to like do something with it. And you get like, around here in LA growing up, you go to the mall and someone at the food court, it's like, your child is so cute, and they take you to this like big scam class. So learned about that, and then like we pivoted and like, okay, well, so my parents were like, I don't know about this industry. And then by the time I was like 13, that's when we like figured out like headshots, like auditions, things like that. And so I was kind of on that path for a minute, but like in the back of my mind, ever since I was a kid, I was like, I said, like, my original dream was like, I want to be a rock star. I want to be a singer, you know?
Oh,
Like,
wow.
yeah. And
Yeah, so you knew early.
I was from very young, just performing constantly, and just
Mhm.
like, there's pictures of me when I was like a baby, like 3 years old, like barely could walk, and has like I had a microphone, I had a
Oh,
karaoke
cool.
microphone and stuff. So it was definitely like in the back of my mind, but I didn't have enough confidence like in my voice and stuff, and it was just like my voice was developing, and so that was just like wasn't in the cards at the time. But I'm really happy that, you know, the theater and the acting world took over me, because it gave me something to focus on, gave me something to drive forward. You know, I wasn't really like a cool kid for sure, so it was just like a nice thing to like be like, hey, like I'm good at this, and adults are telling me I'm good at this, you know. And so it was just a good way to get the drive going. And then by 2017, I was like actually like kind of like in the game. I had the manager, I had a talking line with Billy Bob Thornton on her show Goliath, so it was like oh shit, okay, things are happening. And then I like mentally crashed, so like by 2018 I was like just kind of got burnt out, and there was just like, I was with the bad manager. I was just like very focused on like social media only, really, and stuff like that. And I was just like, I don't know about that, bro. So yeah, we both kind of parted ways, and I was like, I'm gonna take a step back, and I'm just gonna like figure out my identity, you know, outside of auditioning, you know, outside of this acting world. Like, I've been doing this since I was a kid, and like I know I'm good at it, I know what it is, and I know this business is hard, and I know I'm gonna lose a lot more than I gain. And so I was like, let me just like, I want to gain some type of independence. And yeah, I was always a writer since I was a kid, and so I just started writing again, more songs. And then next thing I knew, I was working. So I was been working at a movie theater in my hometown, and I was like in the box office, and I'd always kind of just write my songs. And I had this like sick melody in my head, and it was the song that came out to be called "Come to the Sun." But at that time, I was just like, I didn't know it. I had no idea about music. I was just starting to like sing in 2016, 2017.
Okay.
Got like lessons and stuff, and so that was like, oh, okay, like maybe this could be a thing. And so by 2018, 2019, a producer reached out to me by Big Chris Flores, and he was like, hey, like I like your voice. He found like one of my singing videos on Instagram, and that's what kind of opened the gate to music for me, because before then I had no clue about studio time and like just anything really, just how songs are arranged, how they're composed, and how they're produced and stuff. And so he really opened that gate, and cut me like a really just nice work for hire deal, honestly. And he helped me create the beat for Come to the Sun, and like we shaped it. And yeah, it was just like a really magical experience. And then that's how I kind of just went from there. I kind of just like stumbled in it, and kind of just like, oh, this is kind of like theater, you know what I mean? Like setting up your stage to perform, and like being in front of an audience and stuff. And it was just like, I missed that feeling. I missed the feeling of a stage, you know. And it was kind of like I was like, okay, I think this is the transition. So yeah, fully kind of in 2019, I was like, we're gonna go with the brand Starchild, you know. And I've always been a sun person. I grew up in California, and Starchild is a symbol of the sun. You know, it's like ancient literature and like mysticism and stuff. And I like to read a lot of those things. And yeah, so I was like, let me craft that into the music. You know, that's what I want to give to the culture. You know, I feel like a lot of our contemporaries right now are like really heartbroken and talking about their exes and stuff. And I don't really go through that. I don't really date around and stuff like that. So I'm a very like magical like being. And so I was like, let me just infuse that in my lyrics and find catchy pop arrangements, you know, to bring that into the mainstream and to bring that into the world again, you know, and just give us some type of hope. And I feel like we're all just sad, and I have been getting out of a dark place. And so I just want to like bring positivity to the culture, because we're so in drowning in negativity.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it sounds like you started at like a really early age. You sort of like found your voice, or found like your passion in like performing and like being a singer, and you know, having like that spirit. You had like an experience where you kind of like fell off of it, but maybe it was never really gone, and it re-sparked, right?
Totally.
Yeah. I kind of want to hear about those moments that like reignited like that passion in you.
Yeah, definitely. It would have to be, I think, writing. I think that's always been present in my life. And it's always kind of kept me grounded and allowed me to just be a clear channel, for my thoughts and my voice, but what I was feeling. And I'm a very empathic person. I'm really in tune with my feelings. And so, I like to just like pull from the energies around. And, I think what helped me too is reading, a lot of reading. I think diving into ancient literature and mysticism and all these books, they're literally in the palm of our hands now, so just reading articles, reading literally, not even reading the whole book, going on Spark Notes and stuff like that, like gathering information. I think I was just in a space in a time where I needed to do that. The world was at pause for a minute too, during the pandemic. That's when I feel like I really refined my writing and my sound and stuff. And so, I think reading and writing, honestly, I owe a lot to my creativity and just videos too, TikTok and, YouTube videos, and just creative energy in general, just seeing other people winning and just seeing other people like doing their thing. I don't know. When I, like, for example, when I watch commercials, like I'm like, oh, you booked it. Yeah. So like, so it's like, I don't know. I just like being a team player, and I like seeing other people like doing the things that I'm doing, because that makes it, I'm like, well, you're from friggin' Michigan or something, you know what I mean? I'm from here. Like, I'm gonna, like, I'm only in time. Like, time is the only thing that's not happening. So it's, it gives me good confidence. And so I think that kind of resparked me a lot, is just being around creative people, being around really awesome just books and shows, and just creativity in general. I think just surrounding myself around it, even if I'm not doing it, like practicing it, it makes me want to do it. So I think that helps a lot.
You've been immersed in this entertainment industry from a young age, since you're a kid, and it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. And like you said, you kind of had also the dream to be a rock star,
right?
These different things. Is there anyone that you looked up to, or that you put in your words that you saw, like, to you was out there winning?
Yeah.
That was kind of like a guiding or North Star for you in your endeavors?
Definitely. There's so many, honestly. The one of the major ones that I do a lot, I owe a lot of my, like, I'm gonna continue is Lana Del Rey. She's a big influence of mine. She's a big influence, I think, a lot of people in my generation. But in high school, I was going through a very rough, dark, like, patch, very suicidal ideation type of stuff. And I don't know, like, hearing her music and hearing someone that's like in the pop world, but talking about the same things I was, thinking about, and she's getting through them. And, like, every stage of her career, she's always met with some type of backlash, but she's always kind of moved forward. And she's one of the only artists that can literally drop an album with no promo and it goes like #1, so it's kind of like, it's the power that exudes from her. Like, I don't know, it kind of inspires me to know that, like, hey, like, I got power too, and like, if she's been through the ringer, she's setting the path, that she's opening these doors for us younger people, so it's like, just reminding it's that path of, like, carving your own path, that strength. I like artists like that. I'm a big influence on, like the 2000s, like, pop stars, like, and stuff like that. It's crazy to think, that we bullied these young girls in the media, like, from Britney to Miley to Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, everybody like that, like, I like the people who we cast the most stones at, and they seem to keep thriving, Like Lady Gaga, for example, when she came up on the scene, everyone's like, who the fuck is this? Like, what, can I cuss in here? I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay. I don't know what type of You're good. Yes. No. Yeah. And, like, I like trailblazers like that, like Harry Styles right now, Lil Nas X, like, just any artist that who is like Pink. Pink was a big, like, influence in my life. So, like, things like that, those types of artists, but Jim Morrison and like Freddie Mercury, Prince, like, those icons, Bob Marley, they had, like, a lot of past influences, and then, like, the present influences, like, when I was just a child, like, seeing, these pop stars, like, just do their thing. So I've always wanted to take those, like, high-end pop elements, but infuse, like, the Jim Morrison, Lana Del Rey, Bob Marley type of lyrics in them, because I feel like there's a space for that to be created. And I don't know, I think that's what inspires me. Who inspires me?
Nice.
Well, let's talk about kind of carving out that niche for yourself. You talked about bringing in elements of, like, mysticism, magical energy. infusing, those kind of lyrics, like you said, with the kind of pop sounds. Where do you see yourself in that genre, or that you're trying to go down?
Yeah, I definitely kind of just see myself in just a friendly neighbor type of energy. I want to just carve out a space where like I'm Hollywood the land, not Hollywood the industry. And I think I want to be as local as I can, and bring that energy. I think my goal is to bring the West Coast wherever I go. California dreaming is such a big state in everybody's mind. It brings us all here. So yeah, I think taking that energy and bringing it to the music and bringing it to the stage and bringing it to people who need that sunshine and need that light. So yeah, I think I think just pop music for the last 20 years or so, it's been kind of the same deal, of lyrics, breaking up, falling in love, falling out of love, and then partying, drugs, cheating, all of that stuff. And then there's like that empowerment pop, you know what I mean? So I think that's where I kind of like squeeze in. That's how I hang on the genre a bit.
All right.
But bringing those alternative elements, you know what I mean? That, stars like Lingerie Lord and, all these art, Harry Styles and stuff, like bring a little bit, but just like widening it with just that songwriting. I'm a big writer, and I want to just, I think, you have to inspire the people, and it's our job as artists is to take a lot of these stories that we've forgotten in the past that are still very applicable today. And I think just, reawakening that. So yeah, that's kind of how I want to create my corner, just through the songwriting and through creating songs that almost sound like a soundtrack too. I think that's really important to me. Is I grew up in the cinematic world, chasing that. And so I think I bring that element a bit to my lyrics and to the arranging of the beats and stuff. And so
there's like a mood to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's important for me, because I think that's kind of where I want to fit as a songwriter in general. It's just like I would love to write songs for movies and make moments where they're so iconic. I think, when we think of The Breakfast Club, we think of the movie, but we think of the iconic ending of the song, or when you think of Clueless, for example, the rolling with the homie, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know that song, but I know that part, so it's like, I want my words to kind of just live on. And I think that's the part for me that's important of creating, is that we're born to die, so I just want to make sure I'm leaving a good carbon trail, where I could look back off when I'm in the stars and be like, hey, we did that.
And you mentioned those two movies by name, but did you have any other like visual like inspirations, like when you're coming up with your creations?
Kind of. So I not necessarily like direct, like for movies I'll like put it into my songs and stuff, but I definitely like to be inspired by all portions of movies and television and pop culture and stuff, and definitely like have a tongue-in-cheekness to my writing and to my lyrics. There's like a lot of stuff that's like not recorded yet and stuff that I'm excited to be in those spaces, when I get like more rooms to be able to walk in, and like more producers, and like we open up the book, and we see what we're cracking open today, So yeah, I definitely like to take inspirations from movies, books, and TV, and you could kind of hear them a bit. And I don't know, I think that gives me a deep sense of, I'm just a very nostalgic person too, so I think I don't know, I like to have one foot in the past and one foot in the present and connect them both together, I guess.
Well, I want to go back a little bit. You talked about some of your biggest influences being like the people who go through like sort of backlash or like being thrown stones at them. It sounds like you had a early experience as a kid. You mentioned the acting thing, like maybe somebody like misled you a little bit. I kind of want to hear like about some more like hardships you've experienced like in that realm, and also like what's your advice for somebody who is going through something like that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think growing up in Los Angeles as a Los Angeles local, it's a very intense experience just in general. Being 4 or 5 years old and seeing crazy things on the street, just driving by, and learning to just be desensitized to it it's kind of interesting experience. But yeah, as for the experience at the mall and stuff like that, yeah, like there's a culture here, but not just here either. It's just those mall scouts are everywhere in the country. It's like a now that I'm an adult, I could look at this and see exactly what it is. Oh, got it. You're a pyramid scheme for out of work television actors who go to town and tell their families and kids like, oh, your kids are so cute. Come to this convention and, we'll sign them up and then we'll charge you $10,000 for headshots and get your kid to be an extra on television. And we don't care if you could pay it or not because you're signing up on credit. And we, so it's a very sad thing. And that is very prevalent growing up around here, is that you hear a lot of horror stories like that. So thank God my parents, they knew what's up, and because they've heard friends that went down those paths, and they're like, oop, so they were very protective, which was really good. And so, yeah, I took the route of this, the creativity being a craft and a hobby that could turn into a career. Because I knew my parents were never going to like leave their job, to, make me the breadwinner. Thank God, And yeah, I think I was just like when I was going to school, I was just very out there. I was just very different. I was very always authentically me, and not that many people get that, when you're coming from different walks of life, traditional walks of life, things like that. I've, from day one, I've been talking to spirits, you know what I mean? Like, I let people know, like, yeah, no, magic is real. That's, if you don't believe it, it's fine. It's cool. But there's things going on. And so, yeah, just like, I've always found good people, and then I just had a good energy. And so they would always be able to help me defend myself, which is, I learned right away. And my dad taught me right away. It's like, just be cool with everybody. Everyone would be cool with you. And he didn't even realize that, we're practicing good energy. You put the energy you want to put out, that's what you're going to get back. And so, yeah, there's a lot of those little pitfalls, and just like the constant, going to these rooms and giving it your all, and hearing that, okay, cool, no, you're very talented, but your look is just a little, off, or it's not what we're looking for, or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it shaped me in a really good way. It shaped me to understand that, like, I am talented, and I am who I am, and I am not this industry. I am my own, like, and I am a business person at the end of the day. And that's what I think I took from these experiences, is these journeys. And that's kind of my advice, is to remember that you are entering one of the sickest, like, vilest, toughest industries in the world. And you have to be 10 times stronger than those perceptions. And yeah, it's a big mental game. Los Angeles is a very mental city and mystical city for a reason. You have positive and negativity happening all at once, all day. And so, yeah, I think learning how to separate myself from industry standards and falling in love with the art again, because like you said, I did fall out of the passion because I was doing the industry route, and the industry of it all sucks the passion out.
Yeah.
And then so I've kind of just been learning how to balance that, and in this journey is making sure that, like, we are in the business of intellectual real estate. These thoughts are our property, and I think that's really important to me now. I didn't necessarily always think that way, but this past year for sure made me realize, because like at a point in the pandemic, I was like, I'm just gonna go to fucking real estate school and I'm gonna become a real estate agent and fuck everything. Thank God that didn't happen, but it did teach me a lot. Like, wait, I am a real estate agent. I'm a real estate agent of thought. You know what I mean? Like, I'm selling these to, sync companies or whatever, the business, how to pitch yourself and to sell yourself to. But that's how I started to reframe my thought, because for a long time, kind of had that mindset, but on the more so like, oh, I need just that right agent or that right manager, and they're going to open the right door. I'm going to walk into it, and it's going to, make consistency happen. And that's a one frame to try to fit yourself into, when there's many other frames to fit yourself in this industry. And I think, we're kind of figuring that out now, by the amount of independent people here. Yeah. And I think we are learning how to organize and mobilize that. And I think that's what gives me a lot of hope in this industry. We're experiencing kind of a renaissance right now. And I think it's a really fun time. It's scary, but I don't know. I think I have fun. I'm spooky. So like I have fun with scary. And riding the wave and pushing myself to the limit. But that's something that this industry has taught me, is that that's what we have to do. You have to push yourself to the point where you are going to break. Yeah. And then rebuild yourself to be the strongest person that you could ever become. And so, yeah, that's my advice, is just read about this industry from through and through, learn about all the scams, learn about all the tricks, and learn that it's you're in it for life. You know, this isn't something that you can have a 9-to-5 framework for. You know what I mean? You really have to be in that independent zone and know that it is also, you're connecting with other independents and you're connecting to bring a message to the world and find that broadcast signal. So yeah, that's my goal, just to, I'm gonna leave it with this. Sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place, but when you think of Hollywood, we automatically think of the Hollywood sign, and we neglect the tower behind the Hollywood sign, that gray triangle tower. That is the broadcast signal that broadcasts all those studios and all the television shows to our phones, to our computers, to our television shows. Find your broadcast signal, broadcast it to the world, build your audience. That is the goal that I'm trying to focus on now.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like it. And I like what you said about, not having to fit yourself through that one path, that one door, or, the industry standard, as you said, because there are so many other opportunities, especially for independent artists now, with social media, with the different streaming platforms and stuff, to get your art out there, to get your music out there, and find your own audience without,
Totally.
Having to fit into what someone else thinks your audience should be.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree 100% for sure. Like, it's a really cool time right now, and I know it can feel scary in a sense because we're not seeing that direct, like, I don't have 5 million views or whatever, but like, you're building that, and I think that's the beauty, and I think that's the importance. And we're unfortunately very far from the 90s and 2000s, so it's like we are basically starting up all over again. Like, we're in a whole different time, and it's a transition period, and that's just all we need to recognize, and recognize that the more hope and the more optimism we put in it, that's what can grow.
Yeah. And you talk about these different frames and these sort of pathways that you can go down and choose. Like, how do you yourself choose the one that you think is right for you or that best serves your interest?
Yeah. I'm really big on cleansing your intuition, with like smudging yourself with like sage, Palo Santo, and all that stuff. But yeah, keeping yourself cleansed, keeping your mind and your body cleansed first and foremost. I think that is 100% through a basic in life that you need, but especially in this path, in this industry, because there's so many things being thrown at you left and right. Like the other day, like a false management company like hit me up and tried to scam me out of money, and so it's like,
oh, wow.
On Instagram, it's like they make these fake profiles of these like well-known individuals and will have these followings and stuff, and so they look legit, and then when they start asking you for money, you're like, oh, nope. So yeah, it's just keeping yourself, not getting jaded by these numbers, and making sure that you're playing the long game and not the short game. So I think that's how I kind of use my intuition, is to know, is like, is this going to serve me best in the long game? Is this going to bring, opportunity, and not chasing charts. I don't want to chase charts. That's my thing. If charts come, that's cool. If someone wants to invest in me to be a chart player, awesome, because that's the game. Surprise. If you don't know the music business, it costs money. So yeah, a lot of your favorite artists that are super talented that are not popping off, and you're wondering why, it's because that someone hasn't fully invested them to be a chart topper. But be their fan. That's more longevity and more, that's the long game, So yeah, I think focusing on that, and focusing on sync opportunities. There's so much commercials, and there's so many different spaces, I think you can make best of your opportunity, and yeah, trying to keep your masters as much as possible, because they're your houses, they're your little homes that you can invest in and see grow. They're kind of like stocks, I think that's what we need to start looking at the music business as an artist, as a performer. Like, we need to perfect our craft, perfect your mind and your body and your soul before you enter the business, and like, make sure you know who you are, because they'll tell you who you are if you don't know. And that's the best advice I got. And I don't remember who gave me that advice. It was probably on set, someone, when I was doing background acting and stuff. But yeah, it was very like, I'm happy I heard that. And that's what I tell other people and other artists, is like, make sure you know yourself 100%. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, I do. I know my soul. I know who I am. I know my path. I know where I'm going. And I feel like that's why opportunities like this are coming in. You guys, found me and found my page, and now we're here and we're talking about this, And so, yeah, I think that's how I kind of use my discernment. It's just making sure that I'm mentally balanced as much as I can.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and even just from a basic standpoint of, finding your audience and connecting with people, if you don't know who you are and you're not open and vulnerable about that, then it's
Totally.
hard for people to connect and find you.
Yeah, I feel that exactly, and that's all I want to give is just my authenticity. I think that's a rare currency nowadays too. Sometimes, and yeah, like for example, like my name Starchild. It's would be industry standard, quote unquote, a brand or a name, a stage name, but for me, it's the inner part of my soul. It's who I am. I'm the sun. And every time I've ever been out somewhere, at least once a week, someone's like, "Oh my God, you shine just like the sun." I'm just like, "Thank you." So yeah, I kind of just like to live that. And I'm a big person on myths. I want to leave a good myth, because someone from 100 years from now, they're not going to know Marcus Alvarado, the person that was born 1997. They're going to know Starchild, the myth, the legend, the singer, whatever, whatever I've left behind. And I think, I don't know, I kind of operate in a backward sense too. Sometimes I operate in a place where I know that we're leaving this earth, so it's like kind of doing it, finding a balance of like, this might be the last thing I'm ever going to create, like, so it better be good, like it better be popping, it better be dope, like
Putting your all into it.
exactly, because life is really, really short, and it goes by really fast. And, I want to make sure that I leave a good impact. I know I, at the moment, can't physically change the world, but at least I'm leaving blueprints, maybe that someone, down the line will fund a better world to live in. So, yeah.
I want to talk about performing a little bit. And we know that you performed at the Moon Vibex Music Festival.
Yeah.
Summer?
It was a nice, cool indie music festival in downtown LA. Yeah, that was really fun and kind of got me back into performing again for this like new era I'm in and stuff like that. And it was just really cool to be surrounded by a lot of, just again, like us, very young entrepreneurial spirits. They put on the event, and we promoted the tickets, and it was great to get the footage that I needed to get, and everyone there was just so nice and collaborative, and it was really fun to like kind of like debut the new music and debut the new set. And, I like kind of was able to just like perform at like little open mic nights and like bars and stuff to kind of just like get my process back. And every time I'm on stage, it's like magic. I love that feeling of just being able to step out and be in this mystical world of the stage and just like have that fourth wall be present. And that's another, going back to advice real quick to artists, make sure you build a fourth wall. I think that is a grand tool that I learned at a really young age because of theater, and I'm really grateful for that. But I think it's important in our daily life is to make sure like, hey, like I have a bubble around me, yo. Like we're good. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna vibe. But yes, performing. I'm excited because I just lined up a show at the Viper Room on November 25th, and that's the day after my song Out on the Boulevard comes out, and that's what we're promoting. And yeah, so I'm excited to be back. And yeah, I performed at Whiskey like 2 years ago. That was the last time I performed there, and I love that stage. I'm trying to get me back on the Whiskey stage, and like just the Sunset Boulevard scene and just like the Hollywood scene. There's like a couple of promoters that I'm like hitting up and trying to get that back in my life, because I just have new things to actually like give out, So it feels good to be in that space and to be performing, because I love to sing live, and I love to just like get gritty and let the music take over my vibe and my life. And and I love to have a good outfit, a good costume. And I definitely, going out to a lot of performances made me realize I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm in a good lane. A lot of people kind of just show up with their jeans and their tee, and I'm like, that's cool, man. But I'm a showstopper.
Yeah.
I'm here to perform. Like I'm a theater kid. Like, so I put on a show. I like to make it an event, and I like to like just make it feel big. Make it feel iconic. And I've been performing with I haven't gotten the opportunity to perform on a bigger stage since Moon Vibes, so I'm excited to bring out the projector and like my visuals and stuff, and I like to like dance around and sing around it. So I just like to immerse my audience. It's like I don't have a big budget, but like I want people to feel like you're still like seeing a concert, you're seeing a show. So
yeah, that's really cool.
And some of those, Whiskey, the Viper Room. I mean, there's a lot of history at those
Yes,
places.
exactly.
They are, iconic, Sunset Boulevard,
Right, exactly.
bars and
We gotta
places that
keep 'em
people go to
alive.
perform. Yeah.
Yeah,
a big deal.
thank you. Yeah, performing the whiskey stages. Talk about magic.
Yeah.
That is like, to know that so many legends have performed on that stage. When I was a child, my theater teacher, he like would always like do speeches before the performance, and he gave us a dust speech. He's like, whoever performed here before you, like this, you're leaving your dust now. You're leaving your magic, you're leaving your stage dust. And so I'm just an empath, and so like I take that literally and I feel it. And so being on the whiskey stage, and one of my big heroes is Jim Morrison, and so he's like, the Doors like blew up on the whiskey stage in the 60s, and so to feel that energy, and then just to feel literally every other superstar, that's came through from there, down to freaking Eminem to Avril Lavigne to Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? Like from the modern ages, like whiskey's always been there to like hone your craft. And I really respect that, and I really love them, and have a really special relationship with Whiskey A Go Go. And yeah, I'm excited to be going across the street, going to the Viper Room, and hopefully, I can score the Roxy down the line in my life, and yeah, just kind of build from there and just keep going. I love to sing and love to perform. So that's definitely something I want to keep building and keep getting more opportunities in.
Yeah. I want to hear about your most recent like projects like that have released, like your EP Golden Chariot.
Yes,
We Are the
yeah.
People.
So yeah, I've recently a lot of definitely cool updates in my life. So I'm working with United Masters right now. I'm one of like their select artists. They gave me like an 80/20 like distribution deal. So they're really cool at like helping me pitch for like sync and like branding opportunities. And then they're helping me with this latest release. It's called Out on the Boulevard. It's like a fun, just like catchy, just going out pop song. It like gives you that sense of just like, let's just leave the day behind and let's be in the moment, So it's just really fun energy. It's really just traditional, like catchy, like a catchy hook, I love catchy hooks. And so, they're helping me out with that, and they're, pitching it to playlists and stuff. And yeah, it's I made the decision that I'm gonna release like the album in 2024, but we're in a singles market, so I kind of have this genius idea. I'm going to release like 90% of the singles, and so that way when the date comes, it's like you have a whole collection of what I just released for the whole year, because we're in a whole new market, we're in a whole new ball game, like I'm not like backed by a super funder, so it's like you gotta like play these releases out and create a big back catalog. And so I think that's my goal with the releases. But yeah, I'm excited for the spring because my sound is very summer, and so like it didn't make sense to like release like a full length EP or project during the fall or winter months. So I was like, I'm gonna release the singles. So this is gonna be a single, and then around like the beginning of the new year, I'm gonna release a new single, and then we're gonna release the final one, the title track, and then we're gonna release the album, I believe in April, because it'll mark a year from I debuted my song We Have the Power, starting this era and everything like that. So I think it's just a safer investment and bet, so that way, you could keep building the press, and you could keep building the attention, and potentially, like create that viral mobility. Like that's obviously the goal for one of the tracks and stuff like that. But again, building that back catalog, because I didn't really have such a back catalog. So each single to me is really important to like make a little event around and stuff, and hasn't really been done. Like people kind of have a traditional way of releasing still, even on the independent side, and it's like, okay, cool, well, your album got 50,000 streams and now you got to go spend money to make another one. And it's like, I'm not trying to build that way. Like I've been hearing a lot online, like I follow like a lot of like music advice people and stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, right now albums are kind of dead, so for independent artists specifically too, so release your singles. And I was like, I still want to have a piece of an album though, right. But I realized like it would be better if I like release majority and like have two little cute like surprise ones on there, and you have a whole collection now after a year's long single fun press releases and stuff like that, just to keep building the awareness around my brand and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But Out on the Boulevard comes out November 24th, so Black Friday. It's a party holiday, so I want everyone to party to my music, party to my song, and yeah, it's just a vibe. It's just a fun little, just a little 2-minute track, you know, just a cool little 2-minute bouncy like vibe. And if you like pop music, if you like, you know, catchy pop music, it's definitely up your alley. And then yeah, I have a lyric video that's gonna be dropping, and then we're filming a music video as well. So hopefully that drops the same day the music comes out, but it might be a week later. But yeah, it's just a cool, exciting stuff. And then yeah, I perform at the Viper Room on the 25th to celebrate the single drop and the single release. So it's feeling like a real era, you know, it's feeling like a real moment. It's
big
really
month
cool.
coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Singles releasing and visuals coming out.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I feel like I found like a good flow too with like my content creation and stuff, because like being an independent artist, you know, it's like a social media game, it's a digital market and stuff. And yeah, I found ways to kind of just like live my life, record a few shots and frames and stuff, and then put my music over it and just like put it out, you know, just like sharing to the world. And I definitely noticed that being the niche and the thing I needed to have, and it makes me feel good, and I'm actually having fun doing it. And it's like, it's just, I'm literally out here just kind of living my life, you know, just like documenting it. But like my music is my soundtrack to my life, which is cool. And it also helps me promote the music and like let people find it easier and stuff. And yeah,
when you're doing it in that like natural way too, the social media, you know, it's not like it's taking over your life. Cause
definitely,
you know, when you can do it in that kind of natural way,
100%,
yeah,
for sure. And I feel like for a long time, like I was always trying to find the natural way to do it, but I never found a consistency to keep up with it, because something was always kind of off. And then I don't know, this time it feels like all of that paid off, you know. Like we found the flow, and like now I know how to actually keep up with the post schedule, and like because I have the content, you know, that I want to share and stuff. So I think that's a big important thing that I had to learn, is that you need to have your babies, you know, to release to the world. You got to be passionate and excited about it.
Yeah, being prepared is important in
Definitely.
this industry, you know, to stay relevant for sure.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely the goal. You know, I just want to keep getting more awareness, you know, hitting up more things like this and just more press. And I think that's the goal. And then hopefully finding an investor, you know, a manager, you know, that wants to invest a little bit more in like the physical side of like my career, like putting up posters, you know, like making even more like, oh, okay, cool. Like this person, we're making you a brand, you know, like this is happening. Like you're like, people are talking about you, like now you're performing here, and now you're doing a brand deal there, you know. So it's like definitely trying to raise to that profile. And I think we're getting there slowly but surely.
Cool. So did you bring a little bit of music for us to hear? Something we can sample?
Oh, I got you on the music. Trust.
All right.
What do you got for us?
Yes, this one is my latest single. It is going to be releasing November 24th on Black Friday. It is called Out on the Boulevard. So get your friends, get your family, and go out on the town. Go out on the boulevard. We're out of the pandemic, yo. Let's go. So this is Out on the Boulevard. I hope you guys like it.
Running away to a better place, and I will find a particle. You can't take me out to outer space, but in my mind I fly. Ooh, I'm on the boulevard, and I'm gonna catch a star.
You can catch the rest on November 24th.
All right. November 24th.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Yes.
Where can everybody find your music and, you know, follow your journey?
Yes, for sure. Well, Bass Hub, my Instagram, Starchild1997. You can find all my links in there. You can go to my website. It's starchildmedia.com. You can sign up to my email list if you'd like. That'd be really appreciated. You can also just Google me. If you Google Starchild Pop Singer, I'll pop up. It'll kind of show my website and my Instagram and my Spotify, and it'll also like lead you to like different press articles and stuff like that to learn more about me. But yeah, that's how you can find me. Just Google me, Starchild Pop Singer.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Starchild, thank you so much for being on the podcast with us.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. I had so much fun. Thank you for letting me rant. Honestly, I feel like I went on many tangents. So thank you for that.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm really blessed to be here, and I have a really good feeling about all of our endeavors. You know, I'm excited to see, you know, season 3 of this podcast. We're on season 2 right now, but I know you're gonna be doing season 3. So
For sure, yeah.
It'll come.
Yes, I feel it. But thank you for having me. I had a lot of good conversation. I just had a really fun time with you guys.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.